everybody. My name is Michelle LaPierre. I'm an only child, and I have an only child, my daughter Britta. She's my co-pilot with Operation Departure Flight for Mom. So, and thank you, Barbara was my angel. People from Denver Hospice are angels walking on this earth. Neptune Society, more angels. That's what we needed to help send my mom off the right way. So I have some notes, because you know, I'm probably gonna cry. Here's Mom. Marsha passed away September of this year. She was almost 89. A Spitfire. So I know how I came this way. And excuse the pun, but medical aid in dying was a real lifesaver for me. And my daughter Britta. We are both only children, and good news is we didn't have anybody to bitch at, with or whatever, didn't have sibling anything. So that was the good news, but the bad news, it fell all on us. And without all of you, that could have been a really, unpleasant situation. So a little background on my mom. I tell you this because the most important thing that I think a family can do is have these conversations well in advance of stuff happening, right? So in 2009, my mom and my stepfather, they were married 47 years. They were in Colorado Springs. My stepfather committed suicide. He was 84 years old. He was going down fast. He had no other choice. He had no other choice. And that choice may have been ultimately good for him, but it put my mother in a freaking tailspin. And for 3 years, we had to fight her grief and her pain and her sickness and all the things that come with that kind of an event. And you probably all know this, but killing yourself is a felony in Colorado. So not only did I get to deal with all that, I got to deal with the police department and the coroner's office and months and months and months of not getting a death certificate and blah, blah, blah. It sucked out loud for me too. And I lived in DC at the time, and it was horrible. But what that did, we came out of it. What it did is allowed Mom and me to have real meaningful conversations about, we didn't blame him for doing that, because that was the only way he could get out. And he was in serious pain. And he didn't want to live like that anymore. So we forgave him for that decision. But it made us start talking about how we would want to have our lives transition. And that was one of the best gifts, because when it came time for my mom, there was no question. There was no question. It was just a matter of when, right? So she had come down in her mid-80s with leukemia, 7 days every month, leukemia. She was on her 4th year. She fell and ended up in a rehab facility, which is, I'm sorry if anybody works for them, but holy mackerel, what a mess that is, okay? What that did was give my mother an indication of what it might be like to have to be assisted for the rest of her life, and she was gonna have none of that. No assisted living, no whatever. We got her home, very clear right out of the gate that she would not be able to live on her own independently anymore, and that was like a stake in the heart for her. Fortunately, when she was in rehab, we had reached out to Dr. Morris. Thank God I remember the media storm around her in 2016, because I asked my mother's oncologist for help. Censure. No, we can't do that. Why not? The best thing to do would be to put her in hospice. I'm like, yeah, but she's not going anywhere. It might have been the best for me, because I slept on an air mattress for way longer than this big body should have. But no, we can't help. Actually, they made her, when I called and said that Mom made the decision, they made my mom come in and they tried to talk her out.
Oh, wow.
Right? And this chemo was really working, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, but she can't freaking get up and down off of a toilet. She can't get out of her bed. What quality of life is that? And I really admire this woman, but I was pissed off. I called her GP. That is illegal, Michelle, and we will have nothing to do with that. And I'm like, censure. I said, I beg your pardon, it is not illegal. And I bombarded him with all of the websites. And he finally reached back out and he said, I want to apologize. I didn't know about this. Worse off, none of my colleagues knew about this.
Wow.
And I'm like, you're a doctor to someone who's 88? And number one, you would confront me with illegal? That was nasty. And number two, you wouldn't know about this? What the hell? Anyway, I had to get that off my chest. So thankfully, I found Barbara through Googling, because I'm like, I remember that lady's name. I mean, I was so proud of you. I didn't know who you were, but I was so And I reached out just like that. She was at my side and came to visit Mom, determined Mom was eligible, and from that point forward, you never left our side. Never. And got the Denver hospice people and got the people who she networked with to come and care for us. And it was a blessing to be able to spend the last times with my mom without having to do all the freaking paperwork and finding this and do we have the right time for that and how do we get this person and video calls and anyway, it was a piece of cake because of you. Sort of. Yeah. And so we came to the time and date that this was going to happen. We had all this stuff. She was in the arms of people who she loved the most, and we loved her. So Brittany and I got in bed with her, and I wanted her to wear her mixed stole, but she thought that was a little over the top. Wouldn't that have been funny? She said no. I also suggested a tiara, but that was out of the question. Anyway, the wonderful nurse from Denver Hospice was there. We did all the things legally you were supposed to do. And it took my mom 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Fast asleep. We were able to be with her. And then we could remove ourselves and have our own personal breakdown, right? And then the nurse went in. It was so peaceful. It was so humane. It was such a gift that my mom and her grandma gave to us, because I couldn't imagine having to endure her anger, her pain, withering away in a place that she didn't want to be. And I mean, to this day, she could still be hanging on. And I've been told. That's what it would have meant for me. It's medical aid time saved my life. It did, right? And I have memories of her, and Brady has memories of her now. I'll confess, we did go to a medium, and she says she's having a blast. She said, did you know you can be any place, anywhere, anytime, whenever you want? I wasn't quite aware of that, but she's with us. I was writing these notes, and I had to push her away, give me some space, because she's like, well, then say this, and then say that. So I have peace and love, and I'm not. And I'll tell you another thing, the grief has not been hard for me. My uncle passed away weeks before. My cousins are a mess. They're a mess. And to a person, I tell my story as often as I can, whenever I'm asked. And to a person, I hear, gosh, I wish that was available for my mom and dad, or for my loved one. And so thank you. I didn't know there was a national thing. Make that so. I hope you have some goddamn great lobbyists, because we need that. I'm sorry, I swore. Okay. Some of the things I want to offer to you, I'm not quite sure what cohort this is. I'm an ex-marketing person, so I'm not quite sure. Find a way for wrapping dementia and Alzheimer's patients into this. So many of those I love are in this personal hell and don't know how to, they can't get out of it like I did. And it's just crushing. You need to focus on doctor awareness, for God's sakes. That's like the biggest thing. And the terminally ill. This is a very hard thing. I thought about this, like how would I market this? That's sort of hard. But awareness building, what you're doing now, outreach, it means everything. If someone did not know they had this available to them and they missed that opportunity, I can't imagine. It may be too expensive for some people. If there's a way for us to subsidize that in some way, I think that's important. And one final plug. I'm here with my friend Jane Barnes, who is Executive Director for Benefits in Action. It's based in Lakewood. I'm on the chair of the board, and we service as many people as we can in the entire state, almost too many. And we help with healthcare navigation, Medicaid, SNAP, all of that. I'm supposed to have that elevator speech memorized, but sadly. We support the diverse community. We focus on aging. I also brought her here because we should know about this organization. We will be that trusted advisor. We get the questions all the time. We're also trying to coordinate with 5280. Kathy's her sister-in-law. Cindy would like to have been here, but she's out of town. Anyway, Benefits in Action. If you know anybody who might need some help, food insecurity, etc., we're here holding up our community from this end. And thank you for doing it from your end so much.